What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Steele Talkin Sports. My name is Jay Steele, and let's get talking. What up? It is National Championship Monday. How are we doing? I hope you are ready for the UConn-Purdue matchup that I predicted last week. I told you this is what America wanted, and this is what we got. I am super excited for this matchup. I think it's going to be the best college basketball game of the year. So real quick, I'm going to give you a preview of what I'm going to talk about today. The solar eclipse is about to eclipse here in North Carolina, so I do want to get outside and try to view that. So I'm going to record this really quickly. I'm going to keep this pretty short and sweet. Just focus on the national championship game. Maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday, I will do a Masters episode. But right now, I'm just going to focus on college basketball and do this one game since we have one college basketball game left for this season. Unfortunately, it comes to an end. I'm only 4 episodes in now, so I hate to see it go away as soon as I get started on this thing. But you know, there's other sports to talk about, so you'll be seeing me around. Currently, I'm rewatching the Purdue-NC State game on YouTube TV. Again, like I said last week, get on over there to YouTube and use that feature to rewatch any game, and you can fast forward through the commercials. It DVRs it for me, so I don't even have to. So it's a beautiful thing. Thank you, YouTube. Shout out to you guys. And right now what I'm seeing is that NC State didn't have a match for the size. I mean, not just Zach Edey, but everybody, like Trey Kaufman-Renn, Lance Jones. They were holding NC State, especially early. I mean, it's 6 minutes in and NC State only has 9 points. I know Purdue's up 14-19, but Purdue should probably be up 14-3. It looks pretty bad. But tonight's game. We've got 9:20 p.m. God, this is late. Eastern Standard Time on TBS. UConn is laying 6.5 points. The total is 144.5. UConn on the money line is minus 300, and Purdue is plus 240 on the other side. Like I said, this is a fascinating matchup. There's not much more that you could ask for in a game, in a national championship game, with two teams that are about as evenly matched and very similarly constructed as far as rosters and athleticism. I'm super excited for this. I don't really think that either team has a significant edge in this point. I think if you went roster by roster, player by player, they're very much carbon copies of each other. I think if you took the names off the jerseys and the player names and just read stats alone, like team records, team stats, you look at all the KenPom stats, like how they move up and down the court, their pace of play, shooting percentage, you would think these are the same team. When I'm looking on KenPom right now, there's only 2 categories that either team has in the red, which would be, the bottom third of the NCAA. Every other category, they rank in the top 50. Most of these are the top 20 or top 30 categories. So, like, the 2 things that are bad for UConn, it's on defense, really. Really, it's only one category for UConn. Their turnover percentage is 16% as far as their defense, and that's 250th in the nation. On the other side, Purdue's defense only forces turnovers 13% of the time. That's 342 in the nation. So, like, both teams don't force a lot of turnovers, okay? But they shoot the ball well. They shoot the free throw well. They pass the ball efficiently. They're both equal in experience height, bench minutes. Like it's really crazy how identical these two teams are. Um, I think UConn laying 6.5 points. Actually, yeah, 6.5. It opened at 7. I think this is too many points. I I think this is going to be UConn's toughest matchup of the season, just because Purdue has the athletes to match up with them. Zach Edey is a monster. Everybody knows that. Donovan Clingan on the other side is really good. But when I compare those two players, the thing that I see that's the difference is Zach Edey is much more conditioned to play 30 plus minutes, as long as he doesn't get into foul trouble. On the other side, if you look at Donovan Clingan, I feel like he's just not as conditioned, and maybe that's because of his age and experience. But he seems to only average about 20 to 24 minutes a game, whereas Zach Edey can easily go over the 30, 32-minute mark if he's not in foul trouble. So I think that's going to be a key factor in the game, is that can Clingan stay on the floor? Yeah, I mean, in the tournament right now, he played 29 minutes against Alabama, 22 against Illinois, 23 against San Diego State, 27 against Northwestern, and 20 against Stetson. I understand that all of those games, besides the Alabama game, were blowouts. But on the other side, Edey, I think the only game that he hasn't had 30-plus minutes, probably the Grambling game, because they didn't need to work as hard in that game. But I know the Big Ten final, he got 2 fouls in the first few minutes, and that caused him to sit for like 10 minutes in the first half. So that was like a one-off game where he got into early foul trouble, and that caused him to be off of the floor. But as far as his conditioning goes, he averages 35 minutes on the season. He played all 40 minutes against NC State, 39 against Tennessee, 38 against Gonzaga, 27 against Utah State, and still even 31 against Grambling. That to me is the biggest factor in the game, I think, is that Edey is going to be on the floor more than Donovan Clingan. And because of that, he's going to get more rebounds. He's going to be more of a pest on defense for the UConn players trying to get in the paint. I see him getting a couple blocks. And then obviously getting to the foul line, because he is exceptional at getting fouled. I don't necessarily read into the narrative that the referees favor him in the foul department over other players. I think he's just really good at positioning himself to be in the right spot for rebounds, or to go up for a shot against a defensive player, and he gets fouled in the process. Now, I mean, he takes up an enormous amount of space. He's 7'4", 300 plus pounds. It's hard for smaller defenders to defend him without fouling. I mean, if he takes, a slight turn left or right and your arms are up, you're going to make incidental contact. And I think a lot of times the refs call that incidental contact a foul because he's just so big that it looks more aggressive. But I don't see this being a ticky-tack foul game. I think the refs are going to let him play, but when fouls are earned, they're going to be called. The thing that I see is Clingan maybe getting 1 or 2 early fouls, and Danny Hurley takes him out of the game, and that will control the game in Purdue's favor. That Edey can work from the block, and he can use his hook shot left or right, or he can dish out to pass to Lawyer, Braden Smith, or Lance Jones on the wing for some of those 3 balls. So I'm going to be on the Purdue plus 6.5. That is my play. If you wait closer till game time, you can probably get it up to 7.5, depending on what sportsbook you use. Currently, DraftKings has it at 6.5. I'm betting the 6.5. I'm also betting the Purdue money line at plus 245. Again, I'm not a big bettor, so when I say this, I'm putting $10 on each one of them. So don't throw your horses into a kit and caboodle or anything and get all crazy and start knocking doors down and getting your girlfriend mad at you because Jay said to bet Purdue plus 6.5. No, I'm putting $20 on this shit. Okay. But there's some other things that I like. Purdue plus 245. I'm putting $10 on that. That'll pay me $35. That's kind of cool. The plus 6.5. That's just $10 to win 9. Your standard minus 110 odds on DraftKings. Another thing that I like in this game is Purdue in the race to 10 points. I know it's dumb, but there's prop bets out there. People that like to bet the Super Bowl bet the freaking coin toss. So why not a race to 10 points? I love that. You can't bet who's going to win the tip, which I would go with Zach Edey, but I can bet the race to 10 points. And I definitely think, based on what I saw in the first few minutes of that NC State and Purdue game, is that Purdue has no issues coming right out of the gate and hitting shots in this enormous football stadium that they're playing a basketball game in. I know that players usually have issues with sight lines. It looks different from your normal gymnasium. It's not, your small arena that these universities play in, which it should be. I think the NCAA tournament, like the Final Four and the championship game, why are they not just played in an NBA arena? Like, wouldn't that make the most sense? Like, an NBA arena is already designed and set up for this style of basketball. Why are we playing a national championship game in Phoenix at the Arizona Cardinals Stadium just so that we can sell more tickets? And the fans are going to have a worse view than they usually would because the basketball court is only 94 feet. It's not 100 yards long. Whoa. It's not 100 yards long like a football field, so there's a lot of action to see. There's a bigger viewing area. It's not the same in basketball. So I don't like this playing a national championship game in a football stadium. It looks dumb. I think you would get a better product if you did what the NIT did. They played it in Indianapolis at the Pacers Stadium or arena. I would love to see that. Like, NCAA, if you're listening, send the Final Four to the top 10 marketed NBA arenas, and I believe your fans across the nation would enjoy that product because it would spread it around the country. You'd get more opportunities to see the national championship in your city. And that would bolster those local economies as well, doing that on a yearly basis. Just like the World Cup has a different venue final every year or what have you. Like, why not do that for the NCAA championship too? I know that use these bigger stadiums so you can sell more tickets, but if you want to put the best product on the court, I think have the players be able to produce the best product and play in an environment that they're used to. And then also for the fans, like, we want to see fans closer to the court for these national championship games. When I'm watching this right now, it looks like I'm watching a Vanderbilt game. I mean, the players are 20 feet from the sideline, and the fans, I can't see a single fan on the screen when the ball is coming up and down the court because it's a football stadium. We've got the seats too far away. The fans can't even see the basketball on the court. This is ridiculous. Sorry, I know I'm ranting. But that's just, I just don't like the national championship game for men's college basketball to be played in a football arena. That's all I'll say. I'll get off that topic. But One more thing I guess I'll talk about is some props that I like for tonight. Like I said, I was going to keep this short. It's about, oh boy, it looks like it's getting dark, so it's about to go full eclipse on us, so I got to get outside. Yeah. So real quick, same game parlay that I am going to be throwing down on. Here you go. This is the plus 700. It's 4 legs. So $10 will win you 70. Donovan Clingan, over 7.5 boards. Zach Edey, over 12.5 rebounds. And then both Caravan for UConn and Jones for Purdue, over 1.5 threes. So one player from UConn, over 7.5 boards, Donovan Clingan. One player from UConn, Alex Caravan, over 1.5 threes. Pair that with Zach Edey, over 12.5 rebounds, and Lance Jones for Purdue, over 1.5 threes. 4 picks, 2 guys getting rebounds, 2 guys getting threes, plus 700. You're very welcome. My name is Jay. This is Steele Talkin Sports. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to try not to lose my eyeballs looking at the solar eclipse. Thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Leave me a comment if you have any notes or want to just talk sports. I would appreciate that. Follow me on Twitter at Steele_Talkin. Follow me on YouTube at Steele Talkin Sports. And I will see you next week. And we will see you at the buzzer.